I'll teach you how to make this. Whoop, 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 whoop. This is called Inner Shadow, by the way, and turn it into a preset for DaVinci Resolve. I'll separate the video in two sections for clarity and better navigation, making the effect itself, then creating a preset, which is called a macro inside Resolve. So we select this depressed little fella here that we want to blend with the environment. Right-click, open in Fusion. Now, follow my example and I'll explain what everything does in a bit. We add a background node, connect the original shape to the mask input of the background node, then we connect the background node to the original shape with a merge node. We add a transform node and connect it in between the background and the merge node, a Gaussian blur, and finally, we connect the original shape to the mask input of the merge node. Now let's tweak some parameters. The original mask should be inverted, and for that we go to the background node, settings, and check apply mask inverted. The Gaussian blur will then bleed the outside pixels inside your image. Lastly, we move the transform values to simulate shadows casted by a light source. And that's it. We now have a working inner shadow in Fusion. Now, if you want to make this into a reusable preset, you can by creating a macro. As you can see, this section will be a bit complex, but I'll be holding your hand non-consensually all the way through it. Optionally, if you don't want to go through the hassle of learning, you can pay me $5 to get this macro from my coffee store. Please like and subscribe if you like this type of content, and comment if you want tutorials for anything Resolve related. I'll be reading you in the comments. Anyway, let's get to it. So firstly, we need to do some extra tweaks to this Node 3 for better usability and to later be able to create custom buttons. Add a custom tool right after your image. Add an erode dilate in between the transform and the Gaussian blur. Finally, disconnect the image from the mask input of the merge node and create a matte control. Then connect your image to the garbage matte input. Once again, let's tweak some parameters. To add the custom buttons, we have to, you guessed it, use the custom tool. Don't worry, we don't use everything here. Actually, we won't use anything in here. We will create our own buttons. On the inspector, right-click on the node name, then edit controls. I'll explain the first control and the rest should be easy. In name, we add shadow distance with the following parameters. Type has to be number, page doesn't matter as much, but for clarity we select controls, so it appears as soon as we click on the node. Range has to go from 0 to 1, and lastly, for input control, we select SliderControl. Then click OK. As you can see, our new control is there. Now we just need to create 4 more controls. Yay! Pause the video and make sure to create each, one by one, with the correct parameters. Please, this is important, so pay attention to each value and make sure you get everything right before going on. Once that is done, we go to the next step, which is tweaking some parameters and connecting some of those to our custom buttons using expressions. But first, this tutorial takes for granted that you're using a blank composition. This is because I made the different expressions using a first node on the composition. So that means the name of every node has to be followed by 1 and only a 1. I'll leave all the different expressions in the description so your silly little brain doesn't have to do the work. Let's go one by one. For the background node, go to Image, then right-click on Width and select Expression. Then paste the following expression. Then do the same for height with this expression. For the transform node, set edges to duplicate. Right-click on Center and select Expression. Then paste this long ass code. Now imagine if you have to think about all that shit. For the erode dilate node, set filter to circle. Right-click on amount and select expression, then paste this expression. For the Gaussian blur node, right-click on strength and select expression, then paste this expression. For the merge node, right-click on blend and select expression, then paste this expression. Finally, for the matte control node, go to garbage matte and tick the invert parameter. Select all your nodes without the original image node and the media out. Right-click on one of them, then hit copy. Okay, now that this is done, we only need to wrap all this thing here inside a neat little macro. And for that, instead of using this ugly ass native macro creator, we'll use this amazing tool called MacroLab, created by Matt McCool, cool name by the way. Inside the text box, do right-click, hit paste, then click on Start. Look at this beautiful interface, I love it. On the available controls list, deselect anything that is illuminated and make sure this O for output is illuminated only for matte control. Then for custom tool, click on the input button. This reveals this input on the final macro. Search for merge one and right-click on the input button. Then select effect mask. This reveals the mask entry in case we want to mask the effect later on. Go back to custom tool and click on the expand arrow Then tick Color Custom Buttons. This will show them to our final macro menu. Also, go to Background 1, Expand Color, then click on Red. As you can see, all the color channels were added at once. Delete the alpha channel since we are not using that one, and change the red name to color. Leaving it as red shows the color selector label as red for some reason, so yeah, change that. Also, search for Merge 1, expand on Merge, and tick Apply Mode. These are all blending modes. Put a nice name for our macro. In operator type, I suggest leaving it as a group operator, since macro operators obscure the node tree in case you want to check how things work on the inside. Now we hit save, put whatever name you want and make sure the file extension is .setting. And store it on your DaVinci Resolve main folder inside Fusion, then Macros. If you want this macro to also show up in your edit page, you can save a copy inside Fusion, Templates, Edit, then Effects. Create the respective folders if they don't exist. And that's it. If you have any issues with this tutorial, with following the guides or whatever, just put in the comments, I'll be reading you. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to do all the things people ask you to do at the end of the videos, like liking and subscribing and whatever, and give me money. Bye bye!